Hello, everybody. Ali Duzette here again. And right now, I wanted to talk about the hyperinflation situation and what needs to be done in order to solve the problem. Um, so, this has been on my mind for over a year now, probably, where as I've thought about the situation with the economy, the thing that comes into my mind over and over again is the words willing to work harder for less money. That is the mantra that comes into my mind when I think about this. And it hasn't made 100% sense to me. Of course, it did make sense, like we're heading into a situation where in order to make enough money to survive, you need to be willing to work a lot harder. And even if you make a higher amount of dollars on paper, it's going to buy you less money than it used to because everything is inflated. But just the other day, I was reading a book about this topic, about economy stuff, and it talked about how in the 80s, when the Fed raised the interest rates and the inflation went down and things started stabilizing, like that's the pattern that we're using right now to try and get the economy under control, right? But what what this guy pointed out was that it was not just raising the interest rates. There was also this massive oil boom. Okay. And so we had this oil boom at the same time that the interest rates were rising. And what does that actually mean? It means that in addition to it being harder for the average person to borrow money, so we're like tamping down on how much money is available to be borrowed and used in the present, even if it doesn't exist yet, or the value hasn't been created yet. We also added a ton of value relative to the amount of dollars in the economy. So basically, what has happened is we've thrown in so many dollars, but we haven't increased the value to match the dollars. That is what we're seeing right now is a mismatch between the amount of dollars in the economy and the amount of value in the economy. We have way more symbols of value than actual value. That is the problem. The problem right now is that there is, I already said it. There's more symbols of value out and about that people are using to buy and spend than actual value, because all money is just a symbol of the value that we've produced for the world, for ourselves, for other people. How much value have we created for other people? That is the amount of money, you know, and I understand that perhaps this is not true in every instance. And for certain, like things like volunteering and so forth, is a situation where the amount of dollars does not match the value, right? But actually, volunteering is a great example of probably what I'm talking about. In order to stabilize things and get things evened out again, economically speaking, the only answer is that there must be as much value as there is dollars in the supply. Like we need to increase the amount of value proportionate to the amount of dollars being spent and just generally available in the economy. And so that is what I've been thinking about. And so it's been on my mind a lot. And I finally was brave enough to bite the bullet yesterday. And I had my assistants go into aliduzetclasses.com and I had them label it Shemitah pricing. Okay. And so basically everything in my system is like half off right now. Because I just have felt strongly that I need to put my own money where my mouth is. I really and truly feel that the only way out of a hyperinflationary state is to add more value for less money. And, I don't like that. You don't like that, I'm sure. Like, who here wants to work harder and have less buying power for it? Like, who wants to put in even more work and have even less buying power at the end of the day for all of that work? Like, I don't really want to, you don't really want to. But I don't know, short of an oil boom, like how else are we going to get out of this mess? What I believe is going to have to happen is on an individual level, you know, we're going to have to each individually be willing to just add much, much, much more value to the planet. This is both a literal thing and an energetic thing. On an energy level, there's this massive mismatch right now. Sorry, I'm like watching my kid whack things with she has like a little Harry Potter wand. She's like whacking things with. But anyway, on an energy level, we have this mismatch where the energy of the money, there's like so much more money energy than there is value energy right now on a global level. And then like on a global level, national level, to some extent on a personal level, depending like kind of person to person, you know, kind of like in my debt session, where I don't know. But on a personal level, the only way out of things on a personal level is to handle things personally, you know? And so that is why I have drastically reduced my pricing, because I really believe that I need to be willing to work harder for less money and do my part to add more value to the planet. You know, like we need to be adding more and more value. And does that mean that you need to like volunteer to take a pay cut? No, but in my opinion, like what that could look like is just being willing to work harder, you know, finding ways to just serve more people in a more economic sort of fashion, making sure that when you put out an offer that the value associated with it is truly worth what you're charging, and hopefully more so than that. I will say I've bought in plenty of offers where like the outcome was not worth what I paid for it. And this is exactly the sort of situation that is adding to this energy of hyperinflation. Okay, so we have this opportunity on a personal level to just make sure that you know, you can charge $10,000 for something, but just make sure that you're providing the $20,000 of value, right? Like we always just want to be adding so much more value than we are taking from the system, basically. And so one more thought going back to raising the interest rates. I don't know on, so I live in Utah, and on I-15 right now, I've had to drive to Salt Lake City a couple times in the past couple weeks, and on the side, on the billboards on the side, there's like this one that counts the interest rates that you can get your house refinanced at or whatever. And it's like, refinance your house for just 6.5% interest. It's like, oh, that's like so much higher than it was this time last year, you know? And so, you know, the Fed raises the interest rates, hoping that people will not borrow as much money. So we're like, again, we're removing artificial money from the money supply, because it's all money that hasn't been earned yet. Basically, like when we're borrowing money, it's money that we have not created the value commensurate with that money, but now we have it and now we're spending it. And so this is, you know, adding to this issue. And so in the past, my understanding is that raising the interest rates could work because the primary borrowers were human beings. It was me and you know, it was regular Joe Schmoes that were just walking around and borrowing money to buy their house, to buy their car, to go to school. And now we have a situation where the primary borrower in the United States is not a human, it's its own government. And so that, in my understanding, is why raising the interest rates is not going to help, because in order to help, we still, thank you, you cannot have this, actually. Nope. But you could have this tiny dragon. Why raising the interest rates will not really help solve as many problems as people are hoping, because yeah, it's going to stop you from borrowing money so that you can buy a house, but it's not going to stop Congress from borrowing money so that it can, I don't know, do all sorts of the weird stuff that Congress is up to lately. You know what I mean? So anyway, so I guess that brings me to that next question of if there's, you know, if the real problem here is the government borrowing money, not really regular Joe Schmoes like you and me, then what is the point of Joe Schmoes like you and me being willing to work harder for less money? And I think that's a really good question. This whole mess that we're in, it's kind of not our personal fault. It kind of is, to the extent that we're not politically active. I don't talk about all my political activity all the time, but I'm like extremely politically active, and I always am emailing my people and getting involved and going to protests and like all of this stuff. And I donate my time, I donate my money, and I am very politically active, and I raise my children to be as well. I feel like that is the bare minimum. And if we're not politically active, then we are culpable for this mess. But hopefully you are also politically active, keeping an eye on things and doing your best to make sure that your voice is being heard in this, eternal conflict for freedom. But anyway, the point is that generally speaking, what's going on right now is not our fault. And so how can we personally fix it? And why should we even bother to try? Like, why should we try? And for me, the reason why I feel compelled to try is just because I really believe it's the right thing to do. Like, I just really believe that it's the right thing to do. And I believe that when we are living in alignment with universal law, we're going to be rewarded, So it's been a really interesting thing in the past couple of days. Like, I talked about forgiving the payment plans as part of my honoring the Shemitah, where I was not planning to do that, but I woke up on a Sunday 2 weeks ago and just felt like this massive urgency. It was like, you have to go and forgive all of the debts. Every debt that people have to you, like, you need to go and forgive them. And so I did. And payment plans in any business, that is like the gold, like that's just the only income that you can count on. Like, I can't count on any sales from this month. The only thing I can count on is my payment plans, because those are the ones where I know like that it will automatically be withdrawn. So I just like basically got rid of all of my guaranteed income for months to come, unless people start putting more stuff on payment plans right away. But I basically just, removed all of my stable income because of that. And now I've gone through and reduced all my pricing. And so I don't know, like, is that smart as a business person? I don't know. I mean, like, honestly, I think it is, because I think that it's just the right thing to do, and that God rewards people that do the right thing. And so I don't know that all my blessings will come financially, but I do feel a lot of confidence that everything in my life that would require money will come to me some way or another. When we need to eat, we will have food, whether that means that we have to buy it ourselves or whether that means it will show up on our doorstep. We will always have enough because we're doing the right thing, because every day we're doing our part to make sure that, at least in our corner of the world, we're living in alignment with universal law. So anyway, that's just what I wanted to talk about right now, is living in alignment, and to just invite you guys to ask your own self, like, what do I personally need to do to live in greater alignment with universal law? Like, ask your own self if you have anything that you need to do, like, according to God, like, is there anything that God would like you to do as a result of this overall situation that we find ourselves in, economically speaking and everything. Like, when it comes to the value that you are adding to the world, like, what inspiration have you received on that? Like, how are you going to add more value to the world proportional to what you're receiving out of the world? And can you trust that by adding more value, you will also receive more blessings? Can you trust that? So yeah, that's a question I'm asking myself today. And I don't know, but I do feel really good about it. I feel really good about my sessions being made more available than ever. I mean, it's hard to lower prices when everything's by donation anyway, right? And so that's been like one of the things where I've been sitting like, God, you want me to lower prices, but like almost everything's already pretty low. So of course, the bulk of the reductions have had to come from my higher priced items. And you know what? I don't know. I just feel glad that, I mean, I know everybody's tightening their belts. And so I'm hoping that doing this will just make a lot of things a lot more available for people in a time that just feels urgent. And I don't know, for me, healing is always urgent. I don't care if we all win the lottery tomorrow and like everything is sunshine and roses. The thing is, nothing is sunshine and roses if this isn't sunshine and roses, you know? Like, even if everything in the world was going hunky-dory, the real issue is that our hearts are not hunky-dory, right? And so to me, healing work is always very urgent, regardless of what's going on with the rest of the world, because do you want this? No, you cannot have those candies. They are not for your babies. They are only for grown-ups. Here you go. It's a cat dragon. You can give it a kiss. But sorry guys. Woo, little dino time. But the point is that getting our souls in order is always urgent to me. And so I'm hopeful that people will be able to take advantage of that and get a lot of work done for themselves that they wouldn't be able to get done any other way. In other exciting news, before I go, I just uploaded my latest book to Amazon. Let's see if it's shown up yet. It's not up yet, but it's in the process of it. So in the next couple of days, I invite you to come and find me on Amazon. And this is my author page, Ali Duzette. I have all these books out, and now I have one more that hasn't shown up yet. But and if you guys have read these ones, if you don't mind leaving some reviews on these two books in particular, I would really love that. They're like short of reviews, but anyway, my next book is about tuning into your own intuition and healing up your own intuition. And so I'm really excited about it. I hope that it is just a massively useful resource for everybody, and that you'll be able to get more answers more clearly, more quickly, more effectively than ever, and that you'll be able to help and heal everybody around you. That is my real goal with this. So keep checking back. I'll let you know when it's live, but it's in the process right now, and I just couldn't be more delighted about it. So okay, that's it for right now. Thank you guys. I love you so much. Go and talk with God and see what comes to you. I think you're the best. Bye.